So expect these MLAs once things will be finalized, one official announcement will be made. We can expect MLAs to go and meet Nitish Kumar. So that can also happen. That is also likely to be on the cards. Back to you.
All right, my colleague Siddhant, who continues to get us all the details from the ground. Siddhant, once again coming back to you, and we're trying to get more details about this anticipated meeting with the governor. One letter of support is being prepared, as Siddhant was pointing out. But an hour is a very long time in politics. Until it's really done, it's not done. So we'll wait and hold caution till the time there is a finalization on the name of the chief minister. How will this new Mahagathbandhan really look like? Because from 2017 to 2022, a lot of things have changed. RJD is the single largest party in the state. JDU has been, compared to their performances earlier, has shrunk to a great extent. They have about 43 MLAs. One of the key things that Maria was also pointing out is a wait and watch, whether Nitish Kumar will be able to maintain an iron grip over all his MLAs. Let me quickly check if Maria Shakil continues to be with us on the broadcast. Maria, the next few hours are going to be very, very critical. Also keeping in mind and talking about that factor that you mentioned, the unity within the JDU and how strongly Nitish Kumar is able to hold his MLAs together.
Yes, absolutely, and unity within various political parties. The fact that the Congress moved, in fact, sent Bhakt Charan Das, who is in charge of Bihar, to Patna last night. He held a meeting with all the party MLAs. They want to ensure that the Congress flock is together. At the same time, Tejasvi Yadav would certainly want to ensure that his flock is together. Not just his flock of RJD MLAs, but also MLAs of other political parties who are seen to be part of the Mahagathbandhan. Well, you know, for them it is more of an ideological commitment because of CPI-ML. I'm not too sure if the BJP would be ready to do business with CPI-ML. But for the moment, what we can definitely say is that meeting that took place last evening within the Congress becomes important. And Saurav was covering that meeting. Saurav, what was the big takeaway of the Congress meeting last evening?
See, Maria, when the meeting was scheduled for today, but the MLAs started reaching yesterday evening, and then when they gathered at Ajit Sharma's house, the meeting was called officially, and all the MLAs, they sat together and they extended their unconditional support to Tejasvi if Nitish Kumar joins Mahagathbandhan and is ready to come to form a government with Mahagathbandhan. So this was decided yesterday evening, and now we are learning that our sources are saying that all the 16 BJP ministers they are going to resign and submit their resignation to the governor.
So when is that likely to take place? I think that is a big piece of breaking news that is coming now from Saurabh, who is saying that the BJP, having predicted that Nitish Kumar is going to take the next move.
All right, those are the developments that Maria is reporting.
Having preempted.
Yes, Maria, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes, so I think the BJP has realized that Nitish Kumar is on a path of no return and that there is no future of this alliance with the BJP, and hence the ministers who are part of Nitish Kumar's cabinet, who are from the BJP, have decided to resign. So this confirmation that is coming, because we have been telling our viewers that even as we speak, there is an important meeting that was happening at Bihar Deputy Chief Minister's residence, that is Tarkishore Prasad, and the confirmation that has come now to Saurav is... Yes, please, go ahead.
All the MLAs of the Mahagathbandhan, they are going to submit their letter of support to Nitish Kumar in a short while. This is the latest information we are getting.
No, but let's put that in context first of the resignation. That is the information that we have of the ministers of the BJP.
See, the BJP ministers started arriving 2 hours back at Deputy Chief Minister's house, which is just 200 meters away from CM's house. So we saw all the ministers reaching over there, and a meeting was held. Now we are learning that now the speculation of this government, the ally which is going to break, this has taken a new turn, and we are learning that all the 16 ministers, BJP ministers, most of them are present with the Deputy Chief Minister. They are going to tender their resignation and submit it to the governor.
So that certainly is a big piece of breaking news, that the alliance partner of JDU, that is the BJP, having preempted and having seen that perhaps there is no question of Nitish Kumar doing a rethink. They have gone ahead and they will be putting in their papers, they will be resigning. So will they be now going to Raj Bhavan much before Nitish Kumar actually heads to Raj Bhavan? That remains to be seen. But we can also tell our viewers that as far as RJD move is concerned, they will be waiting for Nitish Kumar to first go to governor's residence or formally announce that he has broken ties with the BJP before RJD actually moves in and gives that letter of support. Let's be clear here, Anusha, that the fact that there is no coincidence in politics, certainly, that even as that meeting takes place at Nitish Kumar's residence, there is an important meeting that is taking place at Rabri Devi's Circular Road home.
All right, Maria, as you continue to get us all those details, before I go to Siddhant, Maria, one more question. As you report the political pulse, and 1 day, 1 hour is a very long time in politics. BJP is also a party which is known to try till the last minute. But as far as the Bihar pot boiler is concerned, is it done and dusted that this will break off and BJP is not trying perhaps to, keep this coalition intact or extend some kind of deal to Nitish Kumar that he may decide to stay in the coalition? Is it done and dusted?
Well, it's too late, I would say now, Anusha. I think Nitish Kumar seeking time, and the BJP JDU rift has been playing public view. Nitish Kumar, not attending Niti Aayog meeting, and in the last 2 weeks has skipped all the meetings that has been related to the central government, including the meeting that was called by Home Minister Amit Shah to do with Tiranga, Har Ghar Tiranga campaign, which is very, very important, in which all the chief ministers of other states had attended. Nitish Kumar had also skipped the meeting, in fact, the swearing-in ceremony of Draupadi Murmu as well. At that time, he had cited COVID as the reason. But as we say that, politics is more about incidences. It is more incidental rather than coincidences. And that is where I want to highlight our viewers the fact that Bhakchan Das comes now from Delhi, and then all the Congress MLAs extend their support. Today, the meetings are taking place at both the places. What will be the formula? I think that is where is something that we'll have to wait and see. There is some more news that has come in now. Yes, Saurabh, go ahead.
We are learning that when this government again with Mahagathbandhan is formed, Nitish will be CM and Deputy CM will be again Tejasvi Yadav, and he is asking for the Home Minister seat also.
Okay, so we'll have to wait and see as far as the confirmation on that. But what Saurav is saying is that there is a possibility that the same formula of 2015, when Nitish Kumar was the face of the government and Tejasvi Yadav, the Deputy Chief Minister, could be something that will be back. But the question that will be asked now is, Anusha, that it will not be a smooth sailing. Nitish Kumar is definitely is weak as far as his numerical strength in this alliance would be concerned, and that is something that actually made him upset or restless with the alliance partner BJP as well. So multiple questions in terms of his ideological commitment, multiple questions as to what really Nitish Kumar stands for. Can he really walk out of one alliance while he continues as the chief minister? The party supporting him, be it the BJP or the RJD, only changes. And that is the irony of Bihar politics. Nitish Kumar is continuing, only the party supporting him. Earlier it was the BJP. Right now, of course, I would say it is still the BJP. And perhaps in the next few hours, that alliance partner will change. But again, as we say, Anusha, there are questions like, can Nitish Kumar necessarily justify this alliance or the future of a new alliance? Because let's not forget that in 2017, when Nitish Kumar walked out of alliance with Mahagathbandhan, he had said that his position became very difficult to defend because he had carefully crafted his image of a Sushasan Babu, the man who gave corruption-free government to Bihar, corruption-free governance to Bihar. And at that time, there were corruption charges against Tejasvi Yadav. What has changed for Nitish Kumar to walk out of that alliance and again form the same alliance with Tejasvi Yadav, who continues to face those charges? Yes, there is a piece of breaking news coming in now.
We are getting the information that after the meeting ends, Nitish Kumar will be accompanied by Tejasvi Yadav, and they both will march to Raj Bhavan. And the change that we are talking about, will happen in the presence of both the leaders. Nitish Kumar and Tejasvi will both accompany and go to Governor's house.
Okay, so will there be? Okay, so we'll have to wait and see whether there will be a formal, transition in terms of Nitish resigning, or will it be the chief only the letter of support from another party actually comes. There are technicalities that are involved here, because let's not forget that there are certain offices which the JDU says may be hostile towards the chief minister, which are involved. The governor's residence is one, the governor's office is one, and the second, of course, is the role of the speaker becomes very important.
That's right.
The current Bihar Assembly Speaker is from the BJP, and he has been taking on the chief minister openly. There has been open spat that has happened in the Bihar Assembly. Nitish Kumar himself has communicated that he would want the speaker to be removed.
Okay.
So, will the technicalities of this transition mean involvement of these offices? So something, some movement we can see, but yes, perhaps it's too early to say that that march that we are anticipating has begun. So for the moment, what we can say is interesting next 1 hour to 2 hours, but yes, Nitish Kumar is the chief minister at present, but these meetings will clear the air as to which direction Bihar is heading.
Well, my colleague Maria Shakil, Saurav and Siddhant continue to get you all the details from the ground, not just political grapevine, but what exactly is happening in all those critical meetings which are underway in the state of Bihar in Patna. Some more breaking news coming in. Let's go to that. And as the new dynamics of a Mahagathbandhan are set to take shape, all 16 BJP ministers are set to tender their resignation, and this is the JDU-BJP alliance which is in the power right now in the state of Bihar. And as it is all said that JDU is all likely to break off the ties and they will join hands with the RJD, Congress plus other parties, the BJP ministers in the government will tender their resignation. Let me once again cut across to Maria Shakil, who is with us on the broadcast. Maria, whether that march to Raj Bhavan will happen first, or the BJP ministers are likely to resign first?
So let's see how it actually happens. I think the BJP has understood that Nitish Kumar is on a point of no return, that he has made up his mind, and no effort will be strong enough for BJP to hold on, to really hold on to him. It's rather interesting. I'll tell you something, Anusha, that in 2013, during the very important national executive meeting that was held of the BJP in Goa, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi was announced as the campaign committee chairman, a week later, Nitish Kumar walked out of alliance with the BJP, saying that he has differences over the choice of Prime Minister Modi as the face of the BJP in the 2014 elections. And all that played out on the streets of Patna, right here, right in front of the Raj Bhavan, right in front of one NMR. And at that time, Nitish Kumar, hoping that he will take a high moral ground, had appointed Jitan Ram Manjhi. It was based on pure political calculations, thinking that Manjhi comes from the extreme backward caste. Nitish Kumar will be seen as a victim. He would be seen as someone who has played that card of giving that position and renouncing the chair of the chief minister. But what happened in 2014? The JDU was reduced to just 2 MPs, and Nitish Kumar understood that alliance partner BJP was very crucial in ensuring that they have broad-based that caste coalition or caste numbers that will continue to make him the chief minister. 2015, after having realized that in 2014 that going alone was not the right move in a society, in a state which is completely driven by caste, where politics and dynamics is completely and thoroughly based on caste, Nitish Kumar formed an alliance with the JDU. They swept the elections, the assembly elections of 2015. Lalu Nitish was seen as coming together of a massive social coalition. Lali was bringing together his social vote bank, and Nitish Kumar that image of good governance. But again, 2017, 2 years later, Nitish Kumar was restless, and he walked out of alliance saying that he was uncomfortable in dealing with Tejasvi Yadav, who was his deputy chief minister. Lalu Yadav then had taken a stand that he will not let Tejasvi resign. And what played out again was right here in front of the Raj Bhavan. Nitish Kumar marching from his home to Raj Bhavan and Tejasvi Yadav and RJD protesting here. What will happen today, we really do not know. Will there be some kind of march that will happen from one Animarg and Circular Road together of Lalu and Nitish Kumar? But what is the question that will be asked is, how comfortable will Nitish Kumar be in this new alliance?
Absolutely.
The BJP says that they ensured that Nitish Kumar, despite being the younger brother numerically,
Yeah.
has that political heft because he continued as the chief minister. So a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of politically uncomfortable questions to Nitish Kumar as he is all set to make this move.
Well, what is politics without some uncomfortable questions? Maria Shakil with those interesting anecdotes. There is also some more breaking news coming in. After meeting Tejasvi and Nitish Kumar, this meeting is also underway and a letter of support is being prepared. And after meeting Tejasvi, Nitish Kumar set to go to Raj Bhavan together. Both of them will go together. That's the news that Saurav was also pointing out some time ago, that Nitish Kumar and Tejasvi are likely to march to Raj Bhavan together in a show of strength. Security has been increased outside Raj Bhavan. That's the word really coming in. Cutting across to my colleague Siddhant, who's tracking all the details of this very important story. Siddhant, these visuals will speak a lot when Nitish Kumar and Tejasvi Yadav will march together towards Raj Bhavan.
Well, yes, that's correct. This is what, in fact, we have also been given to understand. But right now, we all are awaiting the official announcement. We have source-based inputs from all political parties. One letter is being prepared. Time has been, governor has been asked to give time. In fact, there are chances of Tejasvi Yadav and Nitish Kumar going together to the Raj Bhavan. On the other end, BJP ministers are all set to resign from Nitish Kumar's government. So all these are the source-based inputs. But whenever some major development take place, we all wait for the official confirmation, and that is exactly what can happen in a short while from now. Right now I'm reporting outside Rabri Devi's residence, and behind me you can see the cadre, the RJD cadre, Congress cadre, Karyakartas have started gathering outside the Circular Road residence of Rabri Devi. We can also expect Yadav brothers to walk out and speak to media. This is also, we have been told. And also, Nitish Kumar can either issue a statement or can come and speak to media or can go to Raj Bhavan. That is again going to be high on optics to meet the governor. And once that meeting, the pictures of that meeting will come out, then things will be clear that Nitish Kumar is going to resign. But for now, these are the source-based inputs we have. But at the same time, when I speak to people, those who understand Nitish Kumar's way of politics, they tell me that Nitish has been a successful politician out and out. And in fact, Bihar में जो कहावत कहा जाता है कि बिहार में बहार है, कोई भी सरकार है, नीतीश कुमार है. So that is how the Nitish Kumar has played politics since 2005, and he has managed to retain the CM's chair since 2005. As Maria was also highlighting, the time and again he has jumped the ship, and in fact, when Prime Minister Modi was running for the office, he did not support him. Then later he formed Mahagathbandhan. Then he again joined hands with BJP. Then contested elections with BJP. But he made sure one thing, that he remains there on the seat of Chief Minister. So that is how Chief Minister Nitish Kumar's politics has been in Bihar. And this time around also, RJD was trying to give out this message that we have more numbers in the House and we should get the Chief Minister's seat. But again, if the max Nitish Kumar can do is to give the Home Ministry to RJD, which is also very unlikely, because in states like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Home Ministry is everything. So it would be interesting to see. But as Maria was also saying, that same 2015 model will be applied this time around if these two parties will come together. Back to
Maria, I'm coming back to you if you can still hear me. Maria Shakil also tracking all the developments from the ground. My colleague Saurav is also with us on the broadcast. Sanvid tracking all the details, and of course Siddhant was pointing out to some more details. Maria, coming to you once again and taking in a view from you. Interesting anecdotes that Siddhant was talking about कि कोई भी सरकार आए नीतीश बाबू जरूर रहेंगे. And Nitish Kumar is one force for the last 5 to 7 years, in fact more than that, who has worked with different parties and yet being able to somehow preserve his own individual brand of certain degree of political trust and, his own personality. This time, as you pointed out, there are various uncomfortable questions that look at him in the eye. Would he be able to counter them? Because numerically right now, he is much, much weaker. Right now, we're getting a reaction from Shahnawaz Hussain. Let's go.
शुरू हो गया है। अब हमारा जो लेदर पार्क है वो सेंट्रल से हमें मिल रहा है। मित्रा पार्क के लिए 1719 एकड़ ज़मीन हमने एक्वायर कर ली है और उसको हमें पूरी उम्मीद है वो मिलेगा। भागलपुर के अंदर जो रेशम का सेरिकल्चर का हमें बड़ा काम हम कर रहे हैं, पूरे बिहार के अंदर, गया के अंदर, मिथिला के अंदर, बेतिया के अंदर, सीवान के अंदर कोई इलाका नहीं है जहां पर काम नहीं हो रहा है। बिहार के नौजवानों के आंखों में एक उम्मीद की किरण उद्योग और रोजगार की है। वो जो उम्मीद है उसको टूटने नहीं देंगे। उसी वजह से आज हमने दिल्ली के अंदर ये जगह जो हमने आज इसका उद्घाटन किया, ये इन्वेस्टर के लिए है। जो इन्वेस्टर
Well, that was Shahnawaz Hussain, and he was basically talking about some MSME efforts that have been taken by the union government. Maria, I'm coming back to you, talking about Nitish Kumar and his individual brand as a politician. Will he be able to counter these uncomfortable questions that Siddhant and you have been talking about?
It'll be difficult, Anusha. It will be difficult for the Chief Minister to explain that he can walk out of one alliance, talking about principle, that he will not compromise with his principles. Every time he has done that, whether he walked out of the BJP in 2013 or he walked out of Mahagathbandhan in 2017, it was the same Nitish Kumar's sentence or statement that he will not be compromising on his principles. Then what really changed overnight, and what principle is Nitish Kumar talking about right now when he will be, forming another alliance with the RJD? In 2020 Bihar, it was rather interesting that the kind of campaign that was launched by RJD, Tejasvi Yadav used to reiterate every day in the morning before he would leave for his campaign that Nitish Kumar thake hue hain, that Nitish Kumar is jaded and faded, and that the Yuva of Bihar is looking for a new leadership, and he had managed to project himself as that new leadership. Then what really changed for Tejasvi Yadav? Can he play that second fiddle for Nitish Kumar, to Nitish Kumar, just like he did in 2015? So that's why I'm saying let's wait and see, particularly as to what will be the nature of this government. Will it be a smooth sailing? Can it be a smooth sailing? I'm not too sure. But here where we are, this is the main gate of Raj Bhavan in Patna. Right behind these gates is the governor of Patna, and very close to where Nitish Kumar is, the action will be shifting to Raj Bhavan in Patna shortly. But the focus certainly is, can Nitish Kumar, and will he be able to explain his next move? For the moment, the indication that is coming in from Bihar BJP is that the ministers may very well wait for Nitish Kumar to make the next move. Similarly, the indication that is coming from the RJD camp is that RJD will wait for Nitish Kumar to make the next move. So the ball is in Nitish Kumar's court. Which way he will go will be deciding the next course of actions of, be it his, technically both of them have been allies, be it in 2017 or now. So the future of this alliance will have to be decided by Nitish Kumar, and it will be he who will be deciding it. But politically, a lot of uncomfortable questions, his own political capital. The man who was seen as the great hope of Bihar, the man who gave those hope to the girls who were seen on bicycles, the man who talked about his governance model, that man and his politics, will it be seeing a sea change? Will it be a massive transformation? Well, there has been an indication that has come from the state JDU president Upendra Kushwaha today, who has put out an elaborate Facebook post talking about, will there be a churning in Bihar, and is Bihar prepared for another revolution?
Another revolution. Interesting you say that. Arun Dhata, Anvit are also tracking all the details. Siddhant, I'm coming to you and asking you the same question. What is it that makes Nitish Kumar the flavor of all seasons? How is he that he's able to counter all these uncomfortable questions? And as Maria is pointing out, this time the numbers are not stacked in his favor. Tejasvi Yadav, of course, has also grown in the political stature. Will this alliance, if at all it is formed in the next few hours, will it be sustainable?
Well, Nitish Kumar is a very, very smart politician, and as I have been saying that he retained the chief minister's chair time and again. I'm being joined by some of the supporters of Mahagathbandhan. If you allow me, Anusha,
Sure.
I can speak to them and understand the pulse on ground, what cadre has to say, what cadre believes in. ये बताइए कि हर बार ये कहा जाता है कि बिहार में बाहर है, कोनो सरकार है, सीएम नीतीश कुमार है. इस पे क्या लगता है, इस बार भी नीतीश बाबू ही सीएम रहेंगे?
देखिए, सीएम का कहीं कोई सवाल नहीं है कि
हाँ।
कौन बनेगा नहीं बनेगा. ये सामाजिक न्याय का सरकार आ रहा है. गरीब, दलित, शोषित, पीड़ित, अत्यंत.
तो क्या आप लोग जश्न के लिए तैयार हैं? लग रहा है गठबंधन हो जाएगा।
एकदम
बिल्कुल हम लोग पूरी तरह से तैयार हैं और खुश हैं. ये जो परिवर्तन हो रहा है बिहार में, ये एक अहंकार के एवज में जवाब है. चूंकि जेपी नड्डा साहब आए थे और उन्होंने कहा था कि हम देश में क्षेत्रीय
All right, my colleagues Siddhant and Maria are getting us all those voices and all the details and developments happening minute by minute, all the account here on CNN News 18. I also want to bring in some more breaking developments which are coming in at this point in time. Giving you a background, this is the tipping point in alliance. In the month of March, Nitish Kumar had a spat with Bihar Assembly Speaker Vijay Kumar Sinha when he questioned the law and order under Nitish and saw an altercation on the floor of the House. There was also a meeting that was called in the Assembly to resolve such embarrassment on the floor of the House. But that meeting also witnessed arguments between both the Speaker and Nitish Kumar. Chief Minister left the meeting in between and wanted to resign at that time but was persuaded otherwise. My colleague Arun Dhata is getting us all the details on this very important story. Arun, that's how the build-up really was. There were open spats that had happened between the Chief Minister and the Speaker.
Well, that's right, Anusha. That was the tipping point because remember, we had seen how Vijay Kumar Sinha, who's the Speaker of Bihar Assembly and comes from Bharatiya Janata Party, and in fact, remember that Home Ministry is under Nitish Kumar, and therefore the questions were raised by the Speaker there on the floor of the House on the law and order of Bihar, which was directly hitting at Nitish Kumar. And in fact, at that point in time, we had seen the altercation between both of them. Nitish Kumar was telling Speaker that he should work in the ambit of the Constitution. Remember that Vijay Kumar Sinha very clearly saying that the transfer of the police officials, SPs, DMs will not work. This is a trend which needs to change, and therefore that was a clear signal for the Nitish Kumar. In fact, thereafter there was a meeting which happened in the premises of Assembly to resolve such embarrassments for JDU and BJP leaders. Even in that meeting, there was altercation which happened between both Nitish Kumar and Vijay Kumar Sinha, Speaker of Bihar Assembly, and therefore Nitish Kumar in fact left the meeting in between, and Nitish Kumar wanted to resign at that point, but he was persuaded. That is something which became the tipping point because there was regular intervention in the work of Nitish Kumar, and there was regular embarrassment for Nitish Kumar on the floor of the House from the Speaker's side, and that is something which Nitish Kumar was not taking up very well. He wanted to remove the Speaker, which did not happen. And apart from that, there were various other issues. In fact, RCP Singh, who was the representative of JDU in the central government, his stand on Article 370 was different from what JDU wanted him to be. So there are various other issues on which Nitish Kumar was upset, but that regular embarrassment which was coming to him from the Vijay Kumar Sinha side, that is something which he could not forget, and time and again he was trying to remove him, but that did not happen, and that became the tipping point.
That became the tipping point. That was the build-up to what we are seeing, and of course there were multiple factors that led to this. This is the fight for Bihar's power, the Satta of Bihar. In whose hand will the power really go? Nitish Kumar continues to be one pivotal force which is dominating the politics of Bihar. Let's take you through some crucial factors. Let's take you through some more developments which are really coming in. What are the various factors which are going to decide how exactly the government of Bihar is going to be formed? First of all, the formula of 2015 to what we saw in 2017, the breakup of Mahagathbandhan. Is that formula really sustainable now? Tejasvi Yadav or the RJD is the single largest party in the state of Bihar right now. the stature of Tejasvi Yadav indeed has grown. Some figures. RJD stand, they want Nitish to break the alliance with the BJP, and JDU of course is saying they're of the view that alliance with BJP, but it's over. It cannot go on further. It's not sustainable. BJP is following a wait and watch policy. In fact, the 16 ministers in the government are all set to resign. RJD wants, and they are considering giving Nitish the outside support. Nitish Kumar may continue to remain the face. He may continue to remain the chief minister. A very strong possibility. He is ready to join the Mahagathbandhan, but against the outside support. He wants a stable government for the remaining term, which is more than 3 years. BJP stand. They will portray Nitish act as some kind of betrayal, not an ideological commitment, because he has shifted between different parties from RJD to the BJP and now back to RJD, Congress plus the alliance. Now, these are the various factors that we are talking about. As I earlier said, another key point would be that how strongly Nitish Kumar is able to hold the flock together. There are various constitutional authorities who are going to have a very, very important role in terms of how the government really is formed, including the governor and the speaker. Joining us on the broadcast is Mr. Chandrachud Singh. He's a political analyst. We also have Sujata Paul, who's the leader of the Congress party. Both are joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Singh, coming to you first, interesting questions and uncomfortable questions or scenarios that Nitish Kumar may have to deal with if this Mahagathbandhan actually forms once again, because the situation numerically has changed fundamentally in the state of Bihar.
Yes, that is true. Nitish Kumar also, I'm sure, knows this much better than you and I do.
Absolutely.
The fact of the matter is, look, Bihar has undergone a process of social churning in the last few years, which perhaps observers outside may not be realizing. The fact of the matter is that if you look to the way things happened in Bihar, you had this formidable combination of MY, which was the Muslim Yadav unity.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. Cutting across to our reporters on the ground.
बिहार की जो तस्वीर है वो लगातार बदल रही है. नीतीश कुमार जो है, सुनने में आ रहा है कि आरजेडी अपने एमएलएज और आरजेडी से एमएलएज के साथ गवर्नर से मिलने जा रहे हैं.
मुझे कुछ नहीं मालूम इस बारे में. मैं एज ए इंडस्ट्री मिनिस्टर आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ. बिहार में करीब 36,000 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट आया है. बिहार के नौजवानों में एक उद्योग और रोजगार की उम्मीद जगी है. उनके आंखों में जो लौ है उसको बुझने नहीं देना. हम काम कर रहे हैं. ये पहले से तय था, ड्यू था आज का उद्घाटन, और इसलिए हमने उसका पूरा ऐड दिया था और कहा था कि मुंबई में भी हमारा इन्वेस्टर ऑफिस है, यहाँ भी इन्वेस्टर ऑफिस है. जो इन्वेस्टर आएंगे उनको यहाँ रेड कारपेट वेलकम मिलेगा और बिहार तरक्की के रास्ते पे जाएगा. बिहार वो दौड़ जो था वो दौड़ बीत चुका है जिस पे फिल्में बनती थी, अपहरण, गंगा जल. अब बिहार उस दौड़ से बाहर आया है. तो उस दौर से बाहर आया तभी तो इतना बड़ी तादाद में इन्वेस्टमेंट आया. नई टेक्सटाइल लेदर पॉलिसी आई, पूरे देश के बड़े बड़े उद्योगपति वहाँ इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं. हमने ज़मीन के रेट 80% तक घटा दिए. बहुत अच्छा माहौल बनाया है.
नहीं सर, ये सारी चीज़ें अगर हो रही हैं तो ये खटास कैसे आई बीजेपी और जेडीयू के रिश्ते में?
देखिए, वो तो हम एज ए पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय प्रवक्ता आपसे बात करेंगे. अभी मेरी जो ड्यूटी है यहाँ पे, मैं एक एक मिनट का उपयोग करता हूँ. और आप जानते हैं कि नीतीश कुमार जी ने भी खुले कंठ से उद्योग विभाग की तारीफ पब्लिकली की.
आपका नाम भी लिया था उन्होंने. कहा था कि आप अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं.
हाँ, तो हम तो काम ही कर रहे हैं. अब यहाँ से निकलेंगे तो पता लगेगा क्या है. ऐसे तो मुझे कुछ नहीं मालूम कि क्या हो रहा है, लेकिन बिहार के नौजवानों की जो उम्मीद है उसी पे काम कर रहे हैं.
तो आपको लगता है कि कहीं कमी रह गई आप लोगों से? क्योंकि
हम तो काम कर रहे हैं. अभी इन्वेस्टर ऑफिस खुला है, आप स्पेशल आए, न्यूज़ 18 ने कवर किया, बहुत अच्छी बात है. हम तो बिहार को, जो बिहार है उसको शोकेस कर रहे हैं. जिन लोगों ने बिहार को बदनाम किया वो दौर बीत गया.
तो नीतीश कुमार जी से कुछ कहना चाहेंगे आप?
नहीं, हम तो काम कर रहे हैं. एज ए इंडस्ट्री मिनिस्टर अभी भी काम कर रहे हैं.
आगे की क्या रणनीति रहेगी? क्योंकि नीतीश कुमार ने तो फैसला साफ कर दिया.
तो बात करेंगे. अभी तो इंडस्ट्री मिनिस्टर के नाते ये इन्वेस्टमेंट का ऑफिस है, हम काम कर रहे हैं.
कब आप जा रहे हैं बिहार जाने का?
अभी जा रहा हूँ बस बिहार थोड़ी देर में.
ठीक है, बहुत धन्यवाद. तो शाहनवाज हुसैन साहब हमारे साथ थे. अभी थोड़ी देर में बिहार निकलेंगे. ज़्यादा ही इज़ नॉट मच टॉकिंग ऑन द डेवलपमेंट एट दिस मोमेंट. विद कैमरा पर्सन सतीश अरुण थांटा इन दिल्ली.
My colleague Arun Dhanda getting us all the details. That was Shahnawaz Hussain. He's the leader of the BJP in the state of Bihar. Of course, hails from the state of Bihar. Let's see what are the developments that transpire. BJP, of course, knows that Nitish Kumar has made up his mind. I'm cutting across once again to Sujata Paul and Mr. Chandrachud Singh, who continues to be with us on the broadcast. Mr. Singh, as you said some time ago, that Nitish Kumar knows it better than you or I how uncomfortable this position can be in the changed dynamics of Mahagathbandhan. The key question is, how will he really deal with them?
See, that is what I was trying to tell you. In Bihar, there has been a social change, or at least the cohesions between castes, and the formidable combination of Muslim and Yadav, which Lalu Yadav had created. Its counter was done by the non-Yadav, non-Muslim, OBC and Mahadalit Gathbandhan, which Nitish Kumar had created. Now, what has happened over a period of time is that the BJP has also sneaked in, consolidating the forward caste vote and also creating a lot of entry and dent into that forte which Nitish Kumar was holding. So it is natural that now both the sides are actually representing, or at least trying to champion, the same vote bank. So that is why this confrontation is bound to happen. It was bound to happen. It is now happening in front of us. The only issue is, what will Nitish Kumar do? Will he go back to the Lalu Gathbandhan, or will he hand over the power to Lalu Gathbandhan, saying that, look, this is what the requirement is. The OBC, the Mahadalit Gathbandhan has to become formidable, and therefore I am now sacrificing. And he would color it with the name of secularism and other things.
Chandrachudji, if the political chatter, and in fact what my colleagues are reporting from the ground is to be believed, then Nitish Kumar is set to become the face once again, and that entire arrangement where Tejasvi Yadav had the home affairs or far more crucial departments, that might be sustained. But yes, even an hour is a very long time in politics, and we are holding our horses before we make an official statement on that. Sujata Paul of the Congress Party continues to be with us on the broadcast. Sujata ji, we saw what happened to Mahagathbandhan back in 2017. The Congress Party once again is all set to be part of this Mahagathbandhan. What makes you trust Nitish Kumar once again?
First of all, we can't say what is going to happen in the next few minutes. You're talking about hours. I would say next few minutes. However, in the face of a government, a government which is trying to destroy every single state government, and I'm talking about the central government under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah, we have to understand that it is time for everybody who is targeted by this government to come together to save the democracy of this country. This is not how governments function. We have seen this happen in the Mahavikas Aghadi government. What happened to that? ED notices were given to Shiv Sena leaders, but nothing is happening on that front anymore because the government has been brought down, and the BJP, Shiv Sena, rebel faction combine is thinking that they are going to come into power, and that matter being in court, that is also not sure. Now, when you talk about Bihar elections, we saw how Bihar elections were conducted. We saw how the returning officers behaved during that time. So I think it is time for everybody to protect the democracy of this country. And if Mr. Nitish Kumar takes a decision of, joining back with the RJD or the Congress, it is for our leaders to decide finally. But I don't think there's anything wrong in that.
Sujata ji, there's nothing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong or right in politics. I don't know a political party which has not worked with any other political party, including the BJP and the Congress party. So I think morality has to be kept aside. But are you also making a comment about the entire integrity of the electoral process that took place in the state of Bihar? Because you made a comment about the returning officer.
Yes, certainly, because at that time, if you remember, results were not being declared, and there were questions being raised about, how the returning officers, and this is in the case of all those results which had very low margins. So we cannot forget that. We cannot, we do know that questions have been raised about EVMs in the past, but the question on the integrity and credibility of our returning officers were, put on question during the Bihar elections. And not only did we see the Prime Minister, in addition to that, the Prime Minister going and declaring 80 lakh crore do ya 90 lakh crore and 1.25 lakh crore.
Sujata ji, if you were not happy with the election results, why didn't the Congress party challenge it in the court?
we do respect the results, and whatever happens as far as the results are concerned, we have to understand that governance should go on. But in the case of the BJP, there's no governance. It is only about coming into power by hook or by crook.
I understand.
That is not how this country should
No.
be
I'm taking all your
run.
points. I'm giving you a patient hearing. Before I go to Chandrachudji once again, I'm reiterating the question I asked you in the first place. Nitish Kumar is the same chief minister who worked with the BJP, who broke up the Mahagathbandhan alliance. Now he's coming back to this Mahagathbandhan alliance. In all probability, you're right, it doesn't happen till it has actually happened. But will the Congress party once again trust Nitish Kumar is the question I asked you.
Which will be taken by the High Command will be before you if such a case happens. But if it does happen, it will be because the government is under attack by an alliance partner of Mr. Nitish Kumar. And that shows that it is time that all of us come together for the sake of the people of Bihar. And that is the reason why any decision will be taken, because for us, it is always the people and the democracy which is important.
Always the people and the democracy which is important. How true is that? Chandrachudji, I'm coming back to you. We're also getting some more breaking developments. We'll just go to that in just a bit. But Chandrachudji, a question to you about the stability of this government, if at all it is formed. And we were talking about the uncomfortable questions that remain before Nitish Kumar. Tejasvi Yadav, in many ways, politically speaking, in stature, is a changed person now. And what kind of political equations will really be affected with the changed status, political status of Tejasvi Yadav within this Mahagathbandhan, if at all it is formed?
See, I think there are two things that one needs to talk about. Notwithstanding howsoever Nitish Kumar stays in power, in whichever way he stays in power, his size and stature will be cut down. Either ways, any party, which is the third number party in Bihar, if the chief minister belongs to that party, no matter what arrangements do you have, you may place.
Chandrachudji, I'm sorry I have to interrupt you there. There's some more breaking news which is coming in right now. Let's go to that. And sources from the ground indicating to us that the Bihar BJP minister will not resign. Decision taken in the BJP meeting at Bihar Deputy Chief Minister's residence. They will wait for Nitish decision. So there was a question, what will happen first? Whether Tejasvi Yadav plus Nitish Kumar, will they walk to the march to the Raj Bhavan first? Or before that, the BJP ministers, about 16 ministers in the present coalition government, will they resign? So they're going to wait for the developments to happen on the other side. Maria Shakil with us on the broadcast. Maria, why this decision?
Yes, so the BJP doesn't want to be seen as breaking this alliance. And that is the reason why in that meeting that took place at the Deputy Chief Minister Tarkishore Prasad's residence, it has been decided that the ministers will be waiting for Nitish Kumar to make the next move. The ball, as I said, is in Nitish Kumar's court. Even Tejasvi Yadav is waiting for Nitish Kumar to walk out of this alliance before he can extend any letter of support. Because the sense within the RJD is also this, that this kind of move, that where Nitish Kumar has done some kind of muscle flexing with his alliance partner BJP, has happened in the past as well. So in that meeting that took place at Tarkishore Prasad's residence, who is the Deputy Chief Minister, there are two Deputy Chief Ministers from the BJP in this alliance government. The decision that has been taken is that they would wait for Nitish Kumar to make his first move. In fact, that decision has also been communicated to the central leadership, because if this alliance were to end, the onus will be put only on Nitish Kumar. He will have to be squarely blamed for walking out of this alliance with the BJP for reasons best known to him. We have been talking about several points of disagreement. We have been talking about several tipping points. But in the last 2 years, the question that was repeatedly asked to Nitish Kumar was that he fought this alliance, that it was the alliance government which fought the elections in 2020. It was the BJP JDU alliance which went to the polls, which went to the people of Bihar and sought a joint mandate. It was a mandate for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Nitish Kumar jointly. So can Nitish Kumar just walk out of this alliance and then form another government? This is similar to the dilemma that he faced in 2015. When the alliance, in 2017 I would say, because in 2015 it was the alliance of RJD, JDU, which won the state. So the question again is that when Nitish Kumar actually walks out of this alliance, what will be the modalities? For the moment, what we can confirm to our viewers is that the BJP has decided to wait and watch. That has been the stand of the BJP for so long. Yes, there has been a meeting of the BJP ministers, 16 in all. A number of them are also not in Patna. It has been decided that they will wait for Nitish Kumar's move. If Nitish Kumar walks out of this alliance, then the onus of breaking the alliance will be with Nitish and squarely on Nitish Kumar.
And the optics of it matter a lot. Chandrachudji, coming back to you, sorry I had to interrupt you earlier. The optics of it, how this Gathbandhan, this alliance between the JDU and the BJP breaks off and how a new government is formed, this transition is going to be very, very critical for a party like BJP because they are going to claim a higher ground and say, look, this is not about ideology, this is only about political convenience of the JDU.
Yes, which is what apparently it appears on the face of it. The fact of the matter is that Nitish Kumar knew and must be knowing, at least, he's been a politician for ages now, that if he didn't have the numbers, natural it is that the dictations will come from the party with the larger number. So I think he now understands that the BJP has made inroads into his caste bloc that he had very deliberately created. The BJP knows it very well. The BJP has would claim at least the support of the forward communities, and naturally the mathematical equations that they must have planned must have been completed by now. So the BJP will only gain by this. This is my personal view, because the BJP, A, will play the victim card, B, would say that it is Nitish Kumar who's broken the alliance, and C, by that time, it would already, and then Pradhan Mantri Modi's charisma and the kind of, image he has, they will go to the people. And I think, having corrected the caste equations at bottom, they would try and cement it off with their own developmental and religious planks. And this is what the model plan for Bihar was. Now, the problem is with Nitish Kumar, where does he land up? As far as the Congress is concerned, it's only going to gain, because at least that would allow some fresh oxygen to the already kind of situation that it is in. The interesting move would be from the RJD. Would it support the government from outside?
Yes, Maria, coming to you. I'm sorry, Chandrachudji, I'm interrupting you. We continue to get all the updates from the ground. Maria, you have something to tell us? Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm just going to add a point that is being made by Chandrachud Singh ji.
Sure.
Bihar is completely driven by politics in terms of caste politics. Caste has been always the driving force as far as the political equations in Bihar is concerned. So yes, if Nitish Kumar were to walk out of this alliance, let's not forget that he represents a caste group which is just 6% in the larger caste numbers of Bihar. So that has been the politics of Nitish Kumar, that somebody who comes from the Kurmi caste, which is a backward caste in Bihar, has been the chief minister for over 17 years. If he were to continue till 2025, then he will be the longest serving chief minister of a Hindi belt state, and with just 6%. So it is the BJP which ensured that it was the bigger caste base. Similarly, it was the RJD which ensured that Nitish Kumar had the bigger caste base because of what RJD brought with them. So that is the reason why I think if this alliance were to actually break, Nitish Kumar may continue as the chief minister, but he will tend to lose more of his party. As far as the JDU is concerned, it will become a weaker force. The gain in this would be the RJD of the RJD and of the BJP. BJP will go on the ground, say that it is Nitish Kumar which has betrayed them, and will emerge as a force before 2024. And so far, the BJP has been extremely careful in ensuring that they do not antagonize Nitish in seeing to be expanding its footprints. That sharam, as we say in politics, that aankhon ki sharam would be gone completely.
Maria, I just want you to elaborate on that point a little further before I go to Siddhant and taking a word from him. Isn't that completely the antithesis of what Nitish Kumar wants? He's scared that BJP is going to do something and he's going to lose the grip over power. He wants to save his political future. He wants to save his individual brand. And that is why he's going to an RJD and going back to Mahagathbandhan. And you're saying that maybe in the larger political equations, maybe in the long run, it could be the RJD that could be the de facto beneficiary of what is happening right now.
Because in 2020,
all right, there's a problem with Maria's
managed
connection.
to build that entire.
Maria, go ahead. We got you back. We got you back. Please go ahead.
क्या हुआ? 20 तेजस्वी
We'll try and fix that line with Maria. She's reporting all the details from the ground. Siddhant, coming to you and taking in the same question with you. Let's talk about the factor called RJD, and things have changed substantially for them from 2014, 15, 17 to right now. They are one of the biggest forces in terms of the numbers to reckon with. And if this Mahagathbandhan were to be formed under the leadership of Nitish Kumar, who numerically is the Chota Bhai, is the younger brother, what does it mean for the RJD in the medium to long term?
Well, look, the politicians in Bihar know that caste is the most important factor in this state. In fact, we have seen in last 5 years how the politics of Uttar Pradesh has completely changed, and now caste is no more a significant factor in the politics of Uttar Pradesh. But Bihar, if you talk about Bihar, then caste plays a very important role. And in fact, as Maria was also highlighting, that Nitish Kumar retains the chief ministership because he comes from a Kurmi community and he manages to keep the caste equation correctly in his party and in the government. And in fact, whenever Nitish Kumar has been with BJP also, or for that matter now also, he never have given up on his own identity, or he is one leader who has never adopted the BJP's identity, BJP's style of politics.
Yeah.
And that has always been there with Nitish Kumar, and
okay.
that makes him separately a unique brand in the politics of Bihar. Now, last time when Nitish left Tejasvi Yadav.
Siddhant, I'm sorry I'm
RJD,
interrupting you there. I'll come back to you and take all that interesting information. There's a tweet coming in. Lalu Prasad Yadav's daughter, she's tweeted out, I'm just going to quote what she has said, Raj Tilak ki karo tayari, aa rahe hain lalteen dhari, which means that RJD is all set to once again go back to power. She has given a clear message that lalteen, which is a symbol of the RJD, would once again be administering or governing the state of Bihar. Siddhant, back to you, a clear, open message from RJD.
Well, that's right. So, as we were discussing, that there is no official announcement or official, a declaration from any of these parties. Perhaps this is the first official confirmation because Rohini happens to be Lalu Prasad Yadav's daughter, and this tweet is coming from Lalu Prasad Yadav's daughter, where she is writing, saying Raj Tilak ki karo tayari, aa rahe hain lalteen dhari. It means that everything has been finalized. In fact, the last moment conversations are going on, and we can expect official announcement soon. But Rohini's this tweet, especially at this time where legislature party meet is going on at Rabri Devi's residence, Nitish Kumar has sought time from the governor to meet him, and and in fact the media is playing story that Nitish Kumar and RJD are going to come together. This tweet is coming at a time is nothing but an official confirmation that deal has been finalized. Nitish Kumar has agreed for an alliance with RJD, but again it would be interesting to see that will he remain as the chief minister of this state, and Tejasvi Yadav will be the deputy CM, who will get the home ministry. All these things are something which we need more clarity on. Also, I was speaking to one senior RJD leader just a short while back, and what he told me was that अब नीतीश बाबू की जरूरत बिहार को नहीं, नीतीश बाबू की जरूरत देश को है. So this was a statement that he made in front of me. That was obviously an off-the-record conversation. So many are seeing this particular development as Nitish Kumar, getting active in Delhi's politics. And if I say Delhi's politics, then one candidate one face of the opposition parties for 2024 Prime Minister's election. So even many are seeing this development in that particular way also. But only the time will tell how Nitish Kumar is going to play his politics from here now. But one thing is for sure, that RJD and JDU are coming together to form government in Bihar.
Right. Siddhant, this is Akanksha. I'd also like to request you to actually stay with us, because I'd like to take my next question from Maria. Maria, we've just heard that very crucial tweet come in from Lalu Prasad's daughter, who's sort of almost announced that they are going to form an alliance with the JDU. What does this now, A, speak of Tejashwi Yadav's ambitions as far as Bihar is concerned, and B, is Nitish Kumar now ready to pave the way for Tejashwi, also eyeing bigger challenges as far as national politics, or rather the Lok Sabha election of 2024 is concerned?
Yes, that crucial tweet by Rohini Acharya becomes important, because Rohini has been taking to Twitter quite often. She was the one who talked about her father's ailment openly as well. Lalu Yadav himself is in Delhi at Misa Bharti's residence. And Rohini is second to Misa in that line of 9 children that Lalu Yadav and Rabdi Devi have, and someone who has been pretty active on social media as well. So for Rohini Acharya to put out a tweet of that nature becomes interesting. I wouldn't say it's an official confirmation, but it will be interesting to see rather that it is an indication that that RJD will be part of the government. So far we have been speculating that whether RJD will be joining the government or not. The indication that had come from Nitish Kumar's office was that he would certainly want an RJD, JDU, Congress government.
Mara, stay with us, because I'm also getting some breaking inputs right now. We are learning that the governor of Bihar has given 4 p.m. as the time to Nitish Kumar for the crucial meeting. This is the latest we're bringing to you. Siddhant, if I may come to you, what is the latest you're learning? How soon can we expect Nitish Kumar now to leave for the governor's residence, now that we are learning that the meeting is expected to happen at 4 p.m.?
Well, we have been told that Nitish is going to march towards Raj Bhavan at around 2 p.m. But we have also been informed that the governor's house has given 4 p.m. time to Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. So initially, Nitish Kumar has sought appointment between 12:30 to 1:30, but the time that governor has given to Nitish Kumar is at 4 p.m. But our local team is also reporting this, that Nitish Kumar will march towards Raj Bhavan around 2 p.m. So there is going to be a march with Nitish Kumar along with his supporters can carry out from 1 NA mark to Raj Bhavan. So this is a big development that we are getting to know, and this is perhaps the first time that the governor's house has reacted and has confirmed that around 4 p.m. we have given appointment to Nitish Kumar to meet the Honorable Governor. It would be interesting to see, because in fact some are saying that Tejashwi Yadav is also going to accompany Nitish Kumar to Raj Bhavan, and Tejashwi Yadav will also carry that letter of support that he has and has been handed over to him by the MLAs from the Congress, RJD and the left party. So that particular letter is very important, and both the leaders are going to submit the letter of support to the government. That can also happen. Nitish Kumar can also tender his resignation. Now, how that is going to take place is something which is yet to be seen, because one needs constitutional advice in such matters. And that is
right. So that stay with us, because this is the other breaking that we are getting in on Bihar. Sources are telling CNN News 18 that Nitish Kumar will be marching towards the Raj Bhavan around 2 p.m., which is roughly an hour from now. You can expect the Bihar CM Nitish Kumar to be marching towards
the Raj Bhavan, and at 4 o'clock is when that crucial meet will be taking place with the governor. Siddhant, so this is very clear that Nitish Kumar will be marching towards the Raj Bhavan at 2 p.m. and that at 4 p.m. we can expect the meeting with the governor to happen. Now, what happens at the meeting is the crucial question.
Well, that actually we are also trying to gather more information regarding this one meeting, because many are saying there are two possibilities in this particular situation. A, that Nitish Kumar resigns as the Chief Minister of Bihar. Once he will resign, then the cabinet will get dissolved, and then some other day he takes oath as the Chief Minister of Bihar. One is this possibly. Second, Nitish Kumar asks governor to take to remove the BJP MLAs as minister in his government, and to accept the support of Tejasvi Yadav, backed by the MLAs from Congress, RJD, and the left party. So these two are two possibilities. But again, I'm saying that whenever any politician takes such kind of steps in his political career, then he does seek advice from the legal experts, and that is exactly what Nitish Kumar is doing right now. What will be more suitable for his style of politics? What is more suitable for keeping in mind the current circumstances? And exactly that Nitish Kumar is going to do. But one thing is for sure, he is going to march towards Raj Bhavan. But it would again be interesting to see whether Tejasvi Yadav is going to accompany him today or not, because we are yet to hear from the Yadav camp. Whatever we have got to know from the Yadav camp is that Rohini Acharya has tweeted out saying, "Aa rahe hain Lalten Dhari, Raj Tilak ki karo tayari." But other than that, we have not heard anything from the Yadav camp. And in fact, Tejasvi and Tej Pratap both came till the main gate this morning. They exchanged Muharram greetings and then they went inside. But they have not spoken anything on the current political situation in the state. But next few hours are going to be very, very interesting for the state of Bihar, Kanksha, and whatever thing will happen is going to be unprecedented. Back to you.
And on that note, let me also quickly go back to Maria. Maria has also been tracking all these developments. All right, Siddhant, stay with us, because before I come back to all our reporters, I'd also like to give our viewers a sense of what the Bihar Assembly position is currently like. Let's also do some number crunching right now. Remember, it is the RJD which has the maximum number of seats. You see the RJD has 79 seats, followed by the BJP, which has 77 seats, and then you have the Janata Dal United with 45 seats, the Congress having 19, the CPI-ML 12, and others with 11. So, of course, remember, the RJD has the maximum numbers, and the rejig had to have either the RJD or the BJP. Now, as far as the Congress is concerned, we've looked at 19. There also CPI-ML with 12. Remember, the majority mark is 122. We already know that the JDU has 45 along with the RJD. We are now looking at the possibility of a Mahagathbandhan coming back. What will this mean for the Bihar CM? Also, what will this mean for the upcoming assembly election in 2025 for Bihar? Not to forget, even more importantly, the 2024 Lok Sabha election. For more details, let's quickly go back to Maria, who's going to break down these numbers for us. Maria, if we look at these numbers, that the JDU needed the RJD support is something which was almost expected, rather inevitable. I'd like you to talk about how the RJD will also be bearing the anti-incumbency sentiment of Nitish Kumar, because so far we know that there's been a lot of anti-incumbency against Nitish Kumar, and it is the RJD which has been gaining massive popularity.
Is any that Tejasvi Yadav emerged as a force in Bihar in the absence of his father, because Lalu Yadav at that time was in jail. So, you know, if 2020 was an indication of how the wind in Bihar was blowing or the trend that was emerging, it was RJD that gained, and BJP because of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's brand. 2020 elections again was about a joint mandate. It was about Nitish Kumar and brand Narendra Modi coming together. It was a mandate of these political parties. It was not a mandate for Nitish Kumar alone, because if that had been the case, Nitish had just won. His JDU won just 43 MLAs. Nitish Kumar, if this new alliance actually takes shape, because there is an indication that it's only a matter of time that Nitish Kumar will be walking out of that alliance with the BJP and forging a new alliance with the RJD, there will be questions about what next for Nitish Kumar. Will he be acquiring some kind of role at the center? Will he be being that glue which can bring various opposition parties together? But again, there is a massive trust deficit. The question is, can Congress trust him? Can other political parties trust Nitish Kumar? And is Nitish Kumar really the face of this alliance going ahead in 2025? And also, there is no guarantee really that Nitish Kumar will continue in this alliance and not walk out perhaps in the next 3.5 years that the Bihar Assembly tenure is. So multiple question remains, but what we can certainly say is that there are two clear indications that have come in. Upendra Kushwaha, who is the Bihar JDU chief, he has put out an elaborate Facebook post where he has talked about a new revolution taking shape under the leadership of Nitish Kumar, which means Nitish Kumar will be continuing as the chief minister. The second indication is that Rohini, who has announced on Twitter that her brother will be joining this government. For her to say that it is about Raj Tilak that will happen, the Raj Tilak will be of her brother Tejasvi Yadav. So far, during the talks that were happening between the JDU and the RJD had told the JDU representatives who were speaking on behalf of Nitish Kumar that they were ready to give outside support. Nitish Kumar was uncomfortable with that kind of equation. He certainly would want Tejasvi Yadav to be part of the government. So indication is that there will be a role for Tejasvi Yadav, but the question that will be asked is that if in 2017 Nitish Kumar walked out of this alliance with the RJD saying that he doesn't want to carry or bear the burden of Tejasvi Yadav's taint of corruption, then what has really changed 5 years later?
And you know, the other question, interestingly, Maria, that comes to mind is that despite the numbers, why isn't the RJD haggling for the position of the chief ministerial post?
Yes, so that certainly is the question, but I think Lalu Yadav understands that being the second fiddle here perhaps will yield better dividends going ahead rather than taking the complete being on the driving seat, which Nitish Kumar would certainly want to be. Nitish Kumar at 43 is a diminished force in Bihar. Whether he was with the BJP, it almost appeared that he was the nominated chief minister. The BJP was the bigger brother. They managed two two deputy chief ministers' berth. BJP had also got the speaker's chair. So what is the nature of arrangement that is being worked out with the new ally, that is Tejasvi Yadav and RJD? It is Tejasvi who has got his father on board completely, but his father, Lalu Yadav, has been in talks with Upendra Kushwaha. So that line that we have been talking about, who is the line between Nitish Kumar and Lalu Yadav, it is the state JDU chief, that is Upendra Kushwaha, who has been holding repeated meetings with Lalu Yadav. Lalu Yadav himself is in Delhi, but the father and the son are in complete sync in ensuring that as far as support of the RJD to Nitish Kumar is concerned, that will happen.
Right. Maria, stay with us because I can see Siddhant is also very patiently waiting his turn. Siddhant, if I could come to you, I'd like you to, tell me about how the negotiating power of the RJD right now is currently under the shadows of the Land for Jobs scam. All right, we'll continue with that discussion because I'm getting in a breaking news. Tejasvi Yadav has addressed to the Mahagathbandhan leaders. He said that heartfelt thanks to you all for trusting me. We will work on the promises we made back in 2020 and we have to do a lot for Bihar. That is the latest we are getting in from Tejasvi Yadav. He's addressed the Mahagathbandhan leaders. Heartfelt thanks coming from Tejasvi Yadav for the leaders of Mahagathbandhan, and he thanked them for trusting him. and he's made promises that they will be working towards making Bihar a better place. And these were promises that he's alluding to back of 2020. Clearly goes on to indicate that there's an alliance in the making between the JDU and the RJD, as was also hinted by Lalu Yadav's daughter Rohini Acharya in a tweet that she sent out just a few minutes ago, saying that make way for us, we are all set to come, Lanten ke liye rasta banaiye. And now the latest we are now hearing is that Tejasvi Yadav has sent a vote of thanks to the leaders of Mahagathbandhan, telling them to believe in him, that they'll be making Bihar a better place and that he'll be living by the promises that he's all right, let's quickly go to Maria. Maria, I think this vote of thanks going for the leaders of Mahagathbandhan coming from Tejasvi Yadav is another big indication that the alliance is almost set to happen.
Yes, so around 10 a.m. is when the RJD meet began at Circular Road, which is the official residence of Tejasvi Yadav. And even as we speak, there is the final message that is going to Tejasvi, to all the MLAs who have gathered there. And Saurav has some information coming directly from that meeting, perhaps from one of the MLAs of RJD, who is sending all information to Saurav. Saurav, so what exactly is Tejasvi saying, telling his MLAs in that lunch meeting which is happening now?
Yes, the meeting that after the meeting that got over a little while ago, Tejasvi, yes, it's the lunch time, and Tejasvi is addressing the MLAs over there, and he's thanking all the MLAs and MLCs present over there, and he's saying that he thanks everyone for the trust that they showed upon him, and also he says that he's going to work for all the promises that he made in 2020 elections. So he's very confident about this, that he is going to form a government with Nitish Kumar, and again according to our sources, Tejasvi is, after the lunch, he is coming to CM's house with the letter of support, and he'll hand over the letter of support to the CM, and then because it's just 50 meters away from CM's house, so it'll be very easy to come and march to CM's house, and
then
then
perhaps
yes,
the movement will happen. So well, let's wait again for that modality to really out, because there are multiple information coming as to how this entire transition of power will actually be taking place. You know, as we have Nitish Kumar right now is an alliance. BJP, how will that alliance end? Will he be addressing a press conference, or will it be an address by the BJP JDU president, that is Lalan Singh? All that we'll have to wait and see. But for the moment, Tejasvi Yadav telling his MLAs that yes, he is thankful, but he's also assuring them that he will ensure that all the promises that they made on behalf of RJD in 2020 elections, those promises will be fulfilled. Because let's not forget that there are a number of MLAs who had expressed apprehension and skepticism that what will they go back and tell.
Right. All right, we have some more breaking inputs coming in on the Bihar story. Tejasvi Yadav will be handing over his letter of support to Nitish Kumar after leaders finish their lunch. Remember, just at 2 p.m., Nitish Kumar is expected to march towards the Raj Bhavan, and the latest we are now learning is that Tejasvi Yadav will hand over his letter of support to Nitish Kumar after leaders finish their lunch. The letter is to be given post 2 p.m. Remember, the next 2 hours are going to be very crucial. At 4 p.m. we are also going to be seeing the meeting, the very crucial meet take place between Nitish Kumar and the governor of Bihar. And it will be in a short while from now that the letter of support will be handed over from Tejasvi Yadav to Nitish Kumar. Maria, if I may bring you in on this, I think the writing is on the wall now that we've learned that Nitish Kumar will be receiving the letter of support from Tejasvi Yadav. Should we still expect Tejasvi Yadav to be accompanying Nitish Kumar during that meet with the governor?
Yes, possible. Now we can really say with certainty that it's game over as far as BJP JDU alliance in Bihar is concerned. Nitish Kumar, while addressing his party MLAs, has spoken about how BJP was trying to weaken his government. We'll have to wait and see whether...
So this is the other big breaking news we are bringing to you. The BJP-JDU alliance is over. This is the latest we are now learning, considering the letter of support will be handed over from Tejasvi Yadav to Nitish Kumar. The new breaking that we are bringing to you is that the new government that will be in alliance will be the JDU and RJD. Maria, if I could bring you in on this, as you announced, the BJP JDU dosti is finally over.
Yes, that's right. In fact, what has happened is, because Nitish Kumar is presently addressing his party MLAs in that legislature party meeting which is happening at 1 Anne Marg. And in that meeting, Nitish Kumar has communicated that he cannot continue with the BJP. Sorry, what exactly has Nitish told his MLAs?
Senior, we got the information from a senior JDU leader, and he's present in that meeting, and he has confirmed that officially this alliance is broken. So now we can.
What exactly has Nitish said in officially breaking this alliance?
He said that it is very difficult. Nitish in his meeting said that he tried very hard. Meeting with this ally, but the BJP tried to weaken the government, and this is the reason what Nitish gave to his legislators in the meeting, that the BJP ministers and leaders to weaken the government. So we have seen this reasons why was upset.
Yes, remember in Lalan Singh, in the JDU president had said that there is a larger conspiracy that perhaps the BJP was looking for another Eknath Shinde moment in JDU, trying to really strengthen the hands of RCP Singh. So a lot of tension that was there had played out in full public view in the last 48 hours. In that press conference almost showed that Nitish Kumar is on a point of no return, and now confirmation coming in from the JDU meeting that is taking place that Nitish Kumar has decided to break this alliance.
You know, Maria, there's this.
Now it's official that this alliance is broken and it will no longer continue. And now what we were speculating that the JDU will form, and the other Congress and left MLAs, they all are ready with a letter of support, and sooner we will see Tejasvi Yadav after the lunch, and within half an hour he is going to march towards CM's house and he will hand over his letter of support to. And after that, we are also learning that Nitish Kumar, the CM house has taken the time off from the governor at 4 o'clock. This is the information we are getting, that the governor has given time for meeting at 4 p.m. today. So after the march, Tejasvi Yadav, when he comes with his legislators from just 50 meters away from CM's house, he'll reach here. Then the JDU leaders will also come out, and they all will meet, and they will march towards this governor house, which is just 20 meters away from the CM house. We can the security has been waved up. The SDM here, city SP is here, and the security has beefed up. Half an hour ago we can see the vehicle of ASP here.
So security having been at the governor's residence in Patna, that's where the entire focus will be shifting shortly. So it's all over for the BJP.